You know what blows my mind? Japanese trucks routinely hit 300,000 miles while barely breaking a sweat. Meanwhile, trucks built everywhere else are falling apart at half that distance. What do the Japanese know that we don't? Well, I spent months digging into this, talking to mechanics who work on Japanese fleets, reading maintenance manuals that most people never see, and even interviewing engineers who worked for Toyota and Nissan. What I found changed everything I thought I knew about truck maintenance. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'm dropping knowledge that could literally save you tens of thousands of dollars in truck repairs. The first secret is something so simple it sounds stupid, but here it is. The Japanese are absolutely obsessed with what they call the 5,000-mile religion. Not 5,500 miles, not when you get around to it, 5,000 miles exactly. American truck owners treat oil changes like a suggestion. The manual says 7,500 miles, so they push it to 10,000. The Japanese would rather sell their truck than skip an oil change window. But here's what most people miss. It's not just about changing the oil, it's about what happens during that oil change. Japanese maintenance protocols require a full inspection every single time. They're looking at belts, hoses, fluid levels, tire wear patterns, brake pad thickness, every 5,000 miles like clockwork. This catches small problems before they become grenades waiting to explode in your engine bay. Second secret, the Japanese have a completely different relationship with warming up their engines. In America, we've been told that idling is bad, that modern engines don't need warm-up time. Just start it and go right. Wrong. Japanese drivers, especially truck drivers, let their engines warm up for at least 2 to 3 minutes before moving. And here's the critical part. They don't just let it idle. They watch the temperature gauge and wait for it to start moving before they touch the accelerator. Cold oil is thick oil. Thick oil doesn't lubricate properly. Every time you hammer the gas on a cold engine, you're creating wear that accumulates over years. The Japanese understand that those first few minutes of operation determine how long your engine lives. Third secret is about transmission fluid, and this one's gonna make you angry when you realize how many people get this wrong. American truck owners change their transmission fluid maybe once if they're lucky. The manual says lifetime fluid, so they believe it. Japanese truck protocols require transmission fluid changes every 30,000 miles without exception. But it's not just dumping new fluid in. They do a complete flush, replace the filter, and check the pan for metal shavings. If they find any significant material, they investigate immediately. Your transmission is grinding itself to death slowly, and that fluid is the only thing between smooth shifting and a $4,000 rebuild. The Japanese treat transmission maintenance like it's as important as engine oil because it is. Fourth secret involves coolant, and almost nobody talks about this. The Japanese don't just top off coolant when it gets low. They completely replace the entire cooling system fluid every 2 years or 30,000 miles, whichever comes first. Old coolant becomes acidic. Acidic coolant eats away at gaskets, corrodes metal components, and causes slow leaks that eventually lead to catastrophic overheating. Japanese mechanics also pressure test the cooling system during every major service. They're looking for weak points before they fail. A $2 hose clamp that's starting to weaken gets replaced immediately, not when it breaks and leaves you stranded on the highway with a blown head gasket. The fifth secret is tire rotation, but not the way you think. Americans rotate tires maybe twice in the life of the tire if we remember. The Japanese rotate every 5,000 miles with religious precision. But here's what makes it different. During rotation, they're measuring tread depth at multiple points, checking for uneven wear patterns, inspecting for sidewall damage, and adjusting air pressure to exact specifications. Uneven tire wear tells you about alignment issues, suspension problems, or improper inflation. Catching these problems early saves your tires, saves your suspension components, and improves fuel economy. It's a cascading benefit that Americans completely miss because we see tire rotation as a chore instead of a diagnostic opportunity. Secret number 6 is about air filters, and this is where things get interesting. Japanese truck maintenance schedules call for air filter inspection every 5,000 miles and replacement way more often than American standards. A dirty air filter doesn't just reduce performance. It changes your air-fuel mixture, makes your engine work harder, increases fuel consumption, and allows fine particles to enter your engine over time. The Japanese understand that your engine is basically an air pump. Restricting airflow is like asking someone to run a marathon breathing through a straw. Your engine compensates by working harder, running hotter, and wearing out faster. A $20 air filter could be costing you thousands in reduced engine life. Seventh secret involves something called preventive replacement, and this philosophy is completely foreign to American truck culture. The Japanese replace certain components on a schedule regardless of whether they've failed. Serpentine belts get replaced every 60,000 miles even if they look fine. Water pumps get replaced at 100,000 miles whether they're leaking or not. Spark plugs get changed at exact intervals without exception. Americans wait until something breaks, then complain about unreliability. The Japanese prevent failures before they happen. Yes, you're replacing parts that might have lasted longer, but you're doing it on your schedule at your convenience for a fraction of the cost of an emergency roadside repair or towing bill. The eighth secret is all about fuel system maintenance, and most American truck owners have never even thought about this. Japanese protocols include fuel filter replacement every 20 to 30,000 miles and fuel system cleaning every 60,000 miles. Your fuel system accumulates deposits, water contamination, and debris over time. A clogged fuel filter makes your fuel pump work harder, which shortens its life. Injector deposits reduce spray patterns, hurt fuel economy, and create incomplete combustion that damages your catalytic converter. The Japanese treat fuel system maintenance as essential, not optional. Clean fuel delivery means efficient combustion, better performance, longer engine life, and fewer emissions problems down the road. Ninth secret is about keeping detailed maintenance records. And this goes way beyond just saving receipts. Japanese truck owners maintain logbooks that document every service, every inspection, every fluid change, and any abnormalities noticed. This creates a health history for your truck. Patterns emerge. You notice that a certain component needs attention at predictable intervals. You can prove maintenance history if you sell the truck. You have documentation if warranty issues arise. More importantly, this record keeping creates accountability. When you write down that your next oil change is due at 95,000 miles, you're way more likely to actually do it at 95,000 miles instead of letting it slide to 105,000. Secret number 10 involves brake maintenance that goes far beyond just replacing pads when they squeal. Japanese truck protocols include brake inspection every 5,000 miles where they're measuring pad thickness, checking rotor condition, inspecting brake lines for wear or corrosion, testing brake fluid moisture content, and lubricating slide pins and caliper components. Brake fluid absorbs moisture over time. Moisture in brake fluid lowers its boiling point and causes internal corrosion. The Japanese replace brake fluid every 2 to 3 years regardless of mileage. Seized caliper slide pins cause uneven pad wear and reduced braking performance. A 5-minute lubrication procedure prevents a $300 caliper replacement. The 11th secret is about differential and transfer case fluid, and I guarantee most truck owners have never changed these fluids even once. Japanese maintenance schedules call for differential fluid changes every 30 to 50,000 miles depending on use. If you tow heavy loads or drive in severe conditions, that interval drops to 30,000 miles. These fluids break down over time, lose their protective additives, and accumulate metal particles from normal gear wear. Running old differential fluid is like grinding your gears with sandpaper suspended in old grease. The transfer case in 4-wheel drive trucks gets the same treatment. These aren't expensive services, maybe $100 each, but skipping them leads to $1,000 failures that could easily be prevented. Secret 12 is all about battery and electrical system maintenance. The Japanese don't wait for a battery to die. They test battery condition every 6 months, clean terminals and connections regularly, and replace batteries on a proactive schedule, usually every 4 to 5 years regardless of performance. A weak battery makes your alternator work harder. A struggling alternator puts stress on your entire electrical system. Corroded connections create resistance that causes voltage drops and weird electrical gremlins. Japanese mechanics also inspect alternator output and starter draw during routine service. They're looking for trends. An alternator that's working but showing early signs of weakness gets replaced before it fails and potentially damages other electrical components. The 13th secret involves chassis lubrication, and this is something that's almost completely disappeared from American truck maintenance. Japanese service protocols include greasing all suspension components, steering linkages, driveline joints, and chassis fittings every 5,000 miles. Modern trucks have fewer grease fittings than older vehicles, but the ones that exist are critical. A dry ball joint or tie rod end develops play, causes poor handling, creates uneven tire wear, and eventually fails catastrophically. Regular greasing takes maybe 15 minutes and costs almost nothing, but it extends the life of expensive suspension and steering components by years. Americans skip this until something clunks or the steering feels loose, then wonder why they're replacing ball joints at 80,000 miles. Secret 14 is about driving habits, and this is where Japanese truck culture really separates itself. Japanese drivers practice what's called mechanical sympathy. They accelerate gradually, brake smoothly, avoid rapid throttle changes, and treat their truck like a precision instrument instead of a toy. Hard acceleration creates stress on engine mounts, drivetrain components, and the transmission. Aggressive braking generates excessive heat and wears pads prematurely. The Japanese understand that how you drive determines how long your truck lasts just as much as maintenance does. Speed bumps get approached slowly. Potholes get avoided when possible. Loads get secured properly to avoid shifting weight. It's a completely different mindset that treats the truck as a valuable tool deserving respect. The 15th secret involves storage and protection practices that most Americans never consider. Japanese truck owners who store vehicles for any period use fuel stabilizer, connect battery tenders, prop open windows slightly for ventilation, cover the truck to protect paint, and start the engine monthly even if they're not driving it. Long-term storage without preparation causes fuel to degrade, batteries to sulfate, seals to dry out, and moisture to accumulate in the exhaust system. Even for trucks that are driven daily, the Japanese are fanatical about washing the undercarriage regularly, especially in winter or coastal areas where salt accelerates corrosion. Rust never sleeps, and once it starts, it's nearly impossible to stop. Protection and prevention are always cheaper than repair and restoration. The 16th secret is about load management and understanding your truck's actual capabilities. Japanese truck operators never exceed payload ratings, they distribute weight evenly, they use proper tie-down techniques, and they adjust tire pressure for load conditions. Overloading your truck damages the frame, stresses suspension components, overworks the brakes, and strains the drivetrain. Americans routinely overload trucks because the truck can physically move the weight, not understanding the cumulative damage being created. The Japanese read and follow the payload specifications in the manual. They weigh loads when there's any question. They understand that just because you can doesn't mean you should. Respecting weight limits dramatically extends truck life. Secret 17 involves using quality replacement parts and fluids, and this is where being cheap costs you dearly. Japanese truck owners use OEM or premium quality parts exclusively. They use the specific oil weight and specification recommended by the manufacturer. They don't hunt for the cheapest filter or the discount brake pads. Quality parts are engineered to exact specifications. Cheap knockoff parts might fit, but they don't perform the same or last as long. A cheap oil filter might not have the same filtration efficiency or bypass valve pressure rating. Bargain brake pads might be too soft or too hard for your specific application. The Japanese understand that the small upfront savings on cheap parts leads to bigger expenses later through reduced performance and premature failure. The 18th secret is about listening to your truck and responding immediately to any changes. Japanese truck owners notice when something sounds different, feels different, or smells different. A new squeak gets investigated immediately, not ignored until it becomes a screech. A slight vibration that wasn't there before gets diagnosed, not tolerated until something breaks. A burning smell gets tracked down right away. Your truck communicates its health constantly through sounds, sensations, and smells. Americans are trained to ignore these signals until catastrophic failure forces attention. The Japanese treat any change as a potential warning sign deserving immediate investigation. This catches problems in early stages when repairs are simple and cheap instead of waiting for expensive failures. Secret 19 involves understanding and using your owner's manual as the Bible for maintenance, not as a suggestion. Japanese truck owners read the entire manual cover to cover. They understand the severe duty maintenance schedule versus normal duty and honestly assess which category they fall into. Towing, frequent short trips, dusty conditions, extreme temperatures, and stop-and-go driving all qualify as severe duty. Most American trucks actually operate in severe duty conditions but follow normal maintenance schedules, which accelerates wear. The Japanese also understand torque specifications, fluid capacities, and technical details that allow them to verify work done by mechanics. Knowledge is power, and the owner's manual contains the specific engineering information for your exact truck. The 20th and final secret is about the long-term mindset that defines Japanese truck ownership culture. Japanese truck owners buy their trucks planning to keep them for 10 to 15 years or more. This long-term thinking justifies higher maintenance spending because they'll reap the benefits. Americans often trade vehicles every few years, so they're less motivated to invest in preventive maintenance. The Japanese understand that a truck properly maintained is cheaper to operate long-term than constantly trading for newer vehicles and eating depreciation. They view maintenance costs as an investment in reliability and longevity, not as an expense to be minimized. This philosophical difference in ownership perspective drives every other secret on this list and explains why Japanese trucks routinely achieve 300,000 miles, while others are scrapped at half that distance. So there you have it. 20 Japanese secrets that will absolutely transform your truck's longevity if you actually implement them. The wild thing is none of these secrets are complicated or expensive. They're just disciplined, consistent, intelligent maintenance practices combined with respectful driving habits and long-term thinking. You don't need special tools or advanced mechanical knowledge. You just need to care about your truck and treat it like the valuable machine it is. Start implementing these secrets today, and I promise you'll still be driving your truck long after your neighbors are on their third replacement. If this video helped you, smash that like button and drop a comment telling me which secret surprised you the most. I'll see you in the next one. And look, I know what you're probably thinking right now. This all sounds great in theory, but implementing 20 different maintenance practices feels overwhelming, right? So let me break down how to actually start this without feeling like you need to become a full-time mechanic. The key is to begin with the foundational practices and build from there. Start with that 5,000-mile oil change interval and the full inspection that comes with it. That single practice alone will catch probably 70% of issues before they become serious problems. Once that becomes routine, add the tire rotation every 5,000 miles. These two practices combined form the backbone of everything else. From there, you can gradually layer in the other maintenance tasks as you get comfortable and develop the habit. Maybe next month you focus on learning your owner's manual and understanding your truck's specific requirements. The following month, you establish a maintenance log and start documenting everything. Each month, you add another layer of preventive care until all 20 secrets become second nature. It's not about doing everything perfectly from day one. It's about committing to continuous improvement and understanding that maintaining a truck is a long-term practice, not a sprint. Now here's something I want you to really understand about the financial aspect of this. Yes, you'll be spending money on preventive maintenance. That's unavoidable. But the math is brutally simple. Spending $500 per year on scheduled maintenance costs you $5,000 over a decade. Ignoring maintenance and then facing a blown transmission, engine rebuild, or frame rust damage could cost you $5,000 to $10,000 in emergency repairs or even total loss. When you look at it that way, preventive maintenance isn't an expense. It's the cheapest insurance policy you could possibly buy for your truck. You're literally choosing between small predictable costs now and massive unpredictable costs later. I also want to address something important about working with mechanics. Not all mechanics understand or appreciate the Japanese maintenance philosophy. Some will actively work against you, suggesting expensive repairs that aren't necessary or dismissing preventive maintenance as overkill. Find a mechanic who shares the philosophy of prevention. Ask about their maintenance approach. If they're willing to explain why they recommend certain services and show you the condition of your components, that's a good sign. A great mechanic will celebrate with you when preventive maintenance catches a problem before it becomes catastrophic. They understand that keeping trucks reliable is better for everyone than dealing with emergency repairs. Building that relationship with a good mechanic is invaluable because they'll notice trends in your specific truck. Maybe they discover that your truck tends to develop suspension wear in a particular pattern. They'll start checking those components more carefully at each service. Maybe they find early signs of coolant seepage. They'll monitor it closely and replace the gasket before it becomes a failure. A mechanic who knows your truck's history and quirks becomes an extension of your preventive maintenance plan. They're watching for you, catching things you might miss, and keeping you informed of developing issues before they become serious. Let's also talk about the mental shift that needs to happen. Japanese truck culture treats maintenance as a privilege, not a burden. There's pride in keeping your truck in excellent condition. There's satisfaction in knowing that every component is clean, properly lubricated, and functioning at peak efficiency. American culture has conditioned us to see maintenance as something we tolerate until failure forces our hand. That's a mindset you need to completely flip. Start viewing Maintenance Day as an opportunity to connect with your truck, to understand how it works, to appreciate its engineering. Some of the most dedicated Japanese truck owners actually enjoy maintenance. They look forward to it. That positive attitude completely changes how consistently you follow through. This also ties into the broader concept of ownership culture. When you commit to keeping your truck long-term, you develop a different relationship with it. It stops being just a vehicle you borrowed from the bank and becomes something that's yours, something you built and maintained to excellence. That psychological shift is powerful. It motivates you to stick with the discipline even when skipping an oil change would be more convenient. It makes you want to solve problems rather than ignore them. It drives you to learn more about how your truck works so you can maintain it better. This long-term ownership mentality is the foundation that makes all the other secrets actually work. Now I want to be completely transparent about something. Implementing the Japanese approach to truck maintenance won't make your truck invincible. Trucks are machines, they wear out. Components eventually fail regardless of maintenance. What these secrets do is push that failure point as far into the future as possible. They prevent the cascading failures where one ignored problem damages other components and multiplies costs. They keep your truck reliable and capable for twice as long as the average truck. They keep your truck predictable so you're not stranded on the side of the road wondering what went wrong. There's also the resale value aspect that people often overlook. A truck with documented maintenance history, low mileage relative to age, and no hidden issues is worth significantly more than a similar truck with questionable maintenance history. If you ever do decide to sell or trade your truck, that maintenance log and the truck's excellent condition will be worth real money. Buyers of used trucks absolutely look at maintenance records. They understand that a well-maintained truck is a bargain compared to one that's been neglected. You might recover thousands of dollars through better resale value just by implementing these secrets and keeping good records. The environmental aspect is worth mentioning too. A properly maintained truck produces fewer emissions, runs more efficiently, and consumes less fuel. That means less pollution, less waste, and less environmental impact. When you think about it, regular maintenance is actually the environmentally responsible approach. Trucks failing and being scrapped prematurely, then replaced with new vehicles, creates massive environmental waste. Keeping trucks running for 300,000 miles instead of 150,000 miles dramatically reduces the environmental cost. Japanese truck owners get this. They understand that respecting mechanical things and keeping them running is better for the planet than the disposable consumer mindset. I also want you to understand that these secrets scale up whether you're operating a single personal truck or managing a fleet. If you're running a business with multiple trucks, the preventive maintenance philosophy becomes even more critical. Fleet downtime is expensive. A truck sitting in the shop for emergency repairs costs you money and lost productivity. Fleets that implement the Japanese maintenance approach have dramatically lower downtime and dramatically higher reliability. This is why commercial fleet operators often adopt these practices even if individual owners don't. They've done the math and realize that preventing failures is far cheaper than dealing with them. One more thing that's really important: don't fall into the trap of perfectionism. You don't need to implement every single secret perfectly to see massive benefits. Even if you only implement half of these practices, your truck's longevity and reliability will improve dramatically compared to the average American truck owner. Pick the practices that make sense for you, your truck, and your situation, then execute those consistently. Consistency beats perfection every single time. A truck owner who religiously changes oil every 5,000 miles but skips some other maintenance will still have a truck that runs great at 300,000 miles. The compound benefits of consistent maintenance add up over time. Let me also address the specific challenges you might face. Maybe you don't have a garage and weather makes maintenance difficult. Maybe you lack mechanical aptitude and feel uncomfortable doing any work yourself. Maybe you have a tight budget and preventive maintenance feels expensive right now. These are legitimate challenges and they don't disqualify you from the Japanese approach. You can still take your truck to shop for services. You can still keep records. You can still follow maintenance schedules. You can still drive with mechanical sympathy. You can still use quality parts and fluids. You can still listen to your truck and respond to changes. You don't need to be a shade tree mechanic to adopt this philosophy. The real transformation starts with understanding that your truck is worth the investment. That's the mental shift. Once you believe your truck is valuable enough to maintain properly, everything else follows naturally. You'll find time for maintenance because you've prioritized it. You'll find money for quality parts because you understand the return on investment. You'll find a good mechanic because you're actively looking. You'll develop the knowledge because you're genuinely interested. This isn't about being perfect, it's about caring enough to try. As you move forward with these secrets, remember that knowledge is power, but action is everything. Knowing about preventive maintenance means nothing if you don't actually implement it. Reading this script is the easy part. Actually scheduling that oil change, actually rotating those tires, actually documenting maintenance, actually driving with mechanical sympathy, that's where the real transformation happens. That's where Japanese truck owners separate themselves from the average owner. They don't just know these secrets, they live them. Start today, don't wait until next month or next year. Pick one secret, commit to it, and execute it this week. Then add another the following week. Build momentum, build consistency, build the habits that will keep your truck running strong for years and years. Your future self will thank you every single day when your truck is still running strong at 100,000 miles, 200,000 miles, 300,000 miles while other trucks have been sent to the junkyard. Thank you so much for watching this entire video and diving deep into Japanese truck maintenance philosophy with me. If you found this valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because I'm constantly releasing content that helps you understand vehicles better and make smarter decisions about maintenance and repairs. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these 20 secrets you're going to implement first and why. I read every single comment and I genuinely love hearing from you about your truck journey. I'll see you in the next one.